I don't know, still that's a question to me that how they found my profile, because I was not that active on the portals and everything, and they reached out to me. And that time my whole objective to move into patent was like, by the time I found my next teaching job, I could just get into it so that I could earn some money for a few months. So I think that's where it happened. 16 years down the line, I'm still in the IP field. So many times on mundane job like an engineer or something, you are doing like similar thing for years or something like that. Here, I think every third day you are switching the gear with shuffling between the technology. I think that's where that whole interest came up, that I'm not just doing a patent filing, it's much more than that.
How do you actually convince, let's say, the board members who are not really into technology as such?
One other thing that you also have to see that how much leverage I am utilizing while selling my product. And that's what patent can give you. One of the startup founders, he invited me to one of the cafe here. I told him one simple thing, that your coffee here is going to cost you as much as the patent filing cost if you go through SIPP. One also has to understand, whether legacy company or a startup, that it's not a 2020 game. It's a test match.
Test match, true.
Right.
Most people have. Exactly. They feel that IP professionals are lawyers. Exactly. But the thing is, in India or elsewhere, IP professionals have to have a science degree to actually practice, be a patent agent in India.
And they just highlight one particular note, this looks like the most strong feature for me. I said, like, now you are doing my job.
Great. Hi everyone, welcome to InvnTree's podcast on patents. I'm Hemant Putaya, co-founder of InvnTree IP Services. And today with me I have Anoop Jain from Ather Energy. And as you all know, Ather is a EV major in India. And with this podcast, what we aim to do is get industry experts and listen to them speak about patents so that others can learn about their experience. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's get right on to it. Welcome to the podcast, Anoop.
Thanks, Hemant. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. It was great having you. So, now let's say, let's talk about how you got into the field of patent itself. Because now let's say the patenting profession as such in India was not very well known. Maybe when you got into the field itself. Getting into the profession of patents may not be like the foremost career choice for somebody. How did you fall into this patenting professional?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty interesting story. I think it's a combination of like a star being aligned in a direction and also a kind of accident.
Okay.
So it's a mix of both. So during my higher studies in US, like we have like world-renowned professor in patent field, Professor Dennis Couch, like very popular blog, Patently what you have. So he was from the university, and out of my engineering, I used to attend like a lot of other lectures as well. So few lectures I have attended, but that was it. Like, okay, just a brief introduction, broader understanding of the field and all. But I always had that teaching buff in me. So after coming back to India, I wanted to get into teaching. So there also, I think when I started my teaching career, we were trying to achieve some accreditations and all, and suddenly a lot of, especially publication, patents related analysis that we have been doing just to prepare the documents. So that somewhere that whole thing was building up at the background.
Okay.
And in between, like, of course, like due to certain personal reasons, I wanted to move a little closer to my home. And that's where I left the job. In fact, that time also I was looking for something into teaching field.
Okay.
And somewhere in between, one of the renowned firm in IP field, based out of Gurgaon, I don't know, still that's a question to me, that how they found my profile, because I was not that active on the portals and everything. And they reached out to me, and that time my whole objective to move into patent was like, by the time I found my next teaching job, I could just get into it so that I could earn some money for a few months. So I think that's where it happened. And I just joined them, considering that there was some level of exposure into IP was there. I think from there that journey started and became like so interesting that 16 year down the line still in the IP field. So yeah, I think the journey took a lot of interesting turns over the time, and I'm here.
From our experience also, we have seen that people who actually come into the profession, unless they have heard about it, or let's say they have some exposure to patents, they do not take the patenting profession as their first choice. But there are others who actually know the profession well. They are very keen to actually join into the profession itself.
Right.
And I have not seen anybody actually join the profession and then say this is not for me. I think it's an interesting profession to be in, and people actually continue to go on to do great things in this profession.
Yeah, I think you are right, because most of the time I have seen that people, those who, even by accident, like people like me, or even by lack of the other options available, many times they move into the profession, but over the time I think they just grow it in them, and I think there are so many things happening, and moreover, like it's not a monotonous job that you do.
Definitely, that's the point to be. It's not monotonous. That's one of the main key differentiators from let's say many other jobs people have.
Exactly. And I think another part is like that intellectual satisfaction that you get, because many time on mundane job like an engineer or something, you are doing like similar thing for years or something like that. Here, I think every third day you are switching the gear with shuffling between the technology or something like that. So people, those who have that kind of like habit of
curiosity,
those who want to learn, keep learning. Right. So I think this is one profession which always keeps you at the edge of the tech domain.
Definitely.
And I think
so. Is that what let's say keeps you going in this profession for this long?
Yes, I think that is one of the preliminary reason. But I think over the time, as I have been leading teams in Samsung at Ather, and also I got like more free hand to explore the IP field and innovation field together, and that is like one of my core focus area whenever I go, wherever I go. So I see like how these two fields interplay with each other. We always say like patent reflects innovation, but frankly speaking, 80 to 90% of the company, if you see, IP team is a secluded team, innovation team is secluded team.
True.
And they are just filing the patent. So I think that is where I started. I probably took it as a challenge or out of interest. But that's where that whole thing started. So over the time in both the places, like it was not that I'm only looking into IP team. I started taking over the innovation part also.
You have to.
Yes.
So definitely understand. So things from a broader business perspective, unless you are actually aligned with both the patent teams as well as the innovation teams, I think it does not really the protection does not really gel.
Exactly.
You have to understand both sides of it to get I think the best protection for your products itself.
Right. So I think that's where that whole interest came up, that I'm not just doing a patent filing, it's much more than that.
And the satisfaction is much higher.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, now coming to, let's say, how the Indian companies look at it. So if you look at it, there are different types of companies which in India. Let's say the old legacy companies, then there are startups, and there was, and when we speak to, let's say, a startup, maybe who had not really exposed to, let's say, the patenting system much, or the legacy companies themselves who were not really exposed to the patenting system much, they, many a time we see that they're of the opinion that it is just a legal tick that we need to file a patent. Yeah, I filed a patent this year, that's, I'm done about it. Rather than looking at in a different manner, some companies do, not everybody, some companies do look at it as a, let's say, okay, this is something which I have to do, a legal tick mark, I'm done with this, I filed a patent this year, and I'm done for this year. So for such companies, how do you, let's say, tell them that there is much more to it? How would you advise such companies how to look at patents? Patents are strategy. Patents, how powerful the patents are. What do you have to say about this?
See, one very important thing is whom you are saying. Okay, how you are saying is one part, which I'll tell you, but I'll break it down to whom you are saying.
Okay.
If I'm talking to a person who has more to do with P&L of a company, let's say we CEO or CFO,
Correct.
I think the one of the very blunt answer I would say is typically that if you see it as a legal tick mark, it's always going to be a cost center for you. It is never going to be a profit center for you.
That's true.
Right? So that is one way of looking at it, that the patent should not be a cost center for any company. Okay, whether it is a startup, whether it is a legacy company, it should always be looked at a potential profit center for the company. Then only you will be able to make something out of it.
Definitely.
Otherwise, I have seen many legacy companies who sometime during their existence, they started filing patent for a couple of years, and then suddenly they started realizing that it's too much of a cost I am paying for this, and they kind of like stopped or scaled down big time.
Correct.
At the same time, if you are talking to somebody who is from the technical domain and all, so the reason is like it's a validation on your technology superiority. Okay, it's forget about legal part, forget about the way patents are written or something like that. But is there any way I can show that I have something that nobody else has, right? So that is, I think, something which resonates really well with the technology people. If I'm talking to a product person, I have, like, compared to a research paper, patent is more practical in that sense. Correct. It talks about its industrial applicability. If I just go into one of the criteria also, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere it makes sense to them also that, hey, you are talking about 10 different uses of one tech that you are talking about. I can just pick one or two, probably my product could be something else, right? And putting all together, if you see, my simple argument to everybody is it's a strategic tool. Okay. And moreover, it's a multifaceted strategic tool.
I get that. Now, coming to the point that you're making, it's an excellent, valid point. But it may be just seen as, like you said, just something which is expensive. Right. Okay. So how do you actually convince, let's say, the board members who are not really into technology as such? What they see at the end of the day is what profit is it making? Now, the patents for them may seem like just an undue expense as such,
right,
rather than actually getting any profits out of it. So in such cases, how do you, maybe in your present company you need not do it because they have been filed patents from the way since they were started. So that is should not be an issue. But let's say in case of a legacy company or a company which is not much into filing of patents, and when they see it just as an undue expense as such, what would you tell them as to, let's say, this is not really, how do you convince them?
See, in fact, it's a very real incident. I was talking to one of the managing directors of a legacy company which has presence in almost 175 countries across the world,
okay, I know
out of India. Yeah. And he had this apprehension. He invited me that I want to monetize my IP, and I just looked at, they just filed, over the years, they have filed like some 21 patents. With presence in 175 countries. Okay. So he said, like, I don't see much of a value in this. So I say, like, there are two ways to look at like where I'm getting my money from. One thing is like how much I'm selling. And patent is, of course, not a sellable asset, so to speak, when you are keeping it with you.
Correct.
Right? But one other thing that you also have to see that how much leverage I am utilizing while selling my product. And that's what patent can give you. If I have an IP which is creating blockers for other to give similar experience of the product, similar type of product and all those things, I can always not map my sales of product to patent, but I can also look at that, what is the delta it has created, which has made my product more interesting for the end consumer, and why I'm able to beat my competitor to it. Okay, why my competitor is not copying my marquee feature which is there in my product. If you look from that point of view, I simply say, look at your ad film. Okay, what you are selling. Are you selling certain features today? How many of these features have you protected? If answer is even one, then you have that advantage coming out of the patent. So everything cannot be tangible at times, and it's anyways intangible assets.
Definitely,
Right?
definitely. Yeah.
So you have to look from a holistic perspective. It's not just about direct transaction based out of the patent, but a lot of indirect advantages that you get out of it.
Definitely.
Right. Coming to startups also, like we were just talking about legacy company. For startups, it's like very clear advantage that they get.
It is there, but see, legacy companies, what they have the advantage of money. At least they have money to spend on patents, but they're not spending. And by the time they realize that other competitors have left them behind, what happens is I have seen that see, when it is a company which is an international company, the first thing they do is file for patents. They take it as a necessity, whether it is costing more or not. That is how they just file for patent. They come into India. If there are patents, then these legacy companies realize that now they try to stop me. That is when they realize that oh no, he actually is taking my business. He's stopping my business. What do I do now? Then there is no proper setup of let's say how inventions are let's say farmed at their company. Then they run around filing one patent, like you said, because the other person filed for a
stage,
patent.
it becomes more of a target.
Yeah, becomes a target.
Rather than a strategy, it becomes a target that one of the biggest company in India. Now they are filing like crazy. If you see, probably by next year, that data will be out.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking at that number, those are unrealistic numbers.
Yes.
Because it is just driven by a target. It is not driven by a strategy, not driven by any planning. It's simply that now I have to file, right? Although in a bigger run, it might be useful for them. We don't know. But yeah, legacy companies can put their weight behind it. That okay, I can open my chest. You can just file as much as you want. But
startups are also bound by, let's say, cash issues as such, because now let's say it's not even a funded startup to begin with.
Right.
Such startups, how do you actually, let's say, what do you recommend that they do?
See, I usually recommend that be little smart and IP savvy about it. Okay, you need not to file 100 patents.
Correct.
You file 2 patents which are like strategically most important to you, which can protect your core tech, right? Whether it is product, whether it is service, whatever you are going about. If there is a tech advantage that you are creating out of it, just don't go with like, okay, I have to file 100 patents in a year.
Correct. Not by numbers.
Not the numbers. So go with one thing is like be very smart with what you are trying to protect, and that is where like a lot of startup I interact, a lot of startup I consult. Many times they come up with list of 20 ideas. This is what we want to protect, but we don't have money. We usually sit with just 10-15 right questions. They reduce their list to 2 or 3 ideas.
Okay.
This is what matters to us, and that much of money they can spend. That is one thing. Second thing, even if you are like totally cash strapped or and all those kind of things, there are schemes available from government, right?
True.
SIPP and all that you
Correct.
can, like, let's say if there is nothing working out to you, then use that.
Use that at least. But don't be in a position where you don't really protect your idea altogether.
Exactly.
Your advice would be to at least try to protect if you have some innovative ideas, rather than actually saying that let me look. They delay filing is what I have seen. So they are like, let's say we'll go file for patents, but not right now because right now we don't have money. We have to spend on other things.
Exactly.
But what they typically don't realize is that spending on patents is as important as spending on product development as well. Because if you develop a good product and if you're really not having it protected, then there is
I'll tell you one very interesting thing. One of the startup founder, like he invited me to one of the cafe here, just to get some like over the weekend, like some discussion about like how to go about IP and all. I told him one simple thing, that your coffee here is going to cost you as much as the patent filing cost if you go through SIPP.
True.
That is a fact.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you have to see from that there are ways to find. There are a lot of ways around it, right? So of course, quality and all is another discussion that we can have.
But that is at least I understand. If you go through, let's say, a free filing, it may not be the best quality, but it is better than nothing as
exactly.
such.
And second thing is like patents. One also has to understand whether legacy company or a startup that it's not a 2020 game. It's a test match.
Test match, true.
Right? You have to be invested for some time. There are a lot of ways around it, right? So, of course, quality and all is another discussion that we can have.
That is
But You have to have that kind of commitment for few years. Then it starts to give you the returns. It's not that, okay, I have filed it today and next year I am expecting some kind of result. It's not going to happen.
It's not a short-term game as
Exactly.
such. Yeah, coming to that itself now. Now you work for let's say a company which started as a startup. Now it's actually a big company as such. Now, how do you actually let's say design your portfolio? How do you actually think about, okay, this is what my IP filing strategy is. This is because let's say there is the product team, they develop the products. Now you are the patenting team. Now there has to be a balance between the product and the patent, because they have to align with each other. Because from experience, what we have seen is, let's say, it takes time, right? So you had the product company, the product managers had something in mind. So they said, yeah, this is the product. Then somebody came, they
Right,
actually drafted the patent and filed it. The product guy is gone, the patent guy is gone. Now, during prosecution, how do you make sure that whatever the product was, the patent is aligning with that? Because see, the patent team has a different objective, the product team has a different objective. The patent team is to get the patent granted. The
Right.
product team is to have the product which is aligned with the patent. But at the end of the day, we see that to get it granted, we narrow it or change so many things that is not even aligning with the product that you have.
Yeah.
So how do you manage
It's
that?
actually very valid question and very important question to answer.
Yeah.
So it's more about first thing is the engagement. When you are engaging with the product team, I usually prefer that my team is engaging right from the ideation phase. Forget about the development, forget about the POCs and all those kind of things. Engaging with the product team right from the ideation phase. Okay. What it gives you the complete perspective of their thought process, where it is going to be. Second thing, it also gives an advantage where patent team can also point out certain risk right in the beginning if it is happening, so that the product development cycle will not get affected at very late stage.
Okay.
It can be planned right from the beginning. So whether you call it FTO or like simple landscape, where just giving some input at that stage, right? Like in my organization, we are engaged right from the very beginning. Okay. So we are as much as product developer as they are patent attorneys. The role is reversed at points. Okay. So what happens, like the patent coming out of that and the patent person who is sitting within the organization or out of the organization, if they have the full context of the thing, we can plan our patent right from the beginning. Okay. So whether it is bringing different embodiments which are not even planned for the product at
That
this
is
point of time,
that's
right?
true.
Looking from different implementation angles, okay, looking from different user cases, etc. At the same time, while filing, a patent team is pretty much aware of what kind of prior arts would be expected at the time of prosecution and all.
Yeah.
We plan our claim strategy based on that. So maybe possible, like what I am filing right now is a form of my claim. I don't want that claim to be granted. I know that some kind of objection would come, and I have that backup in some of my dependent claim which is ready for me. And over the time, how the product gets developed, how product gets evolved, because patent easily like 3 to 4 years we will get the examination report, right? That time, among available options, that 3-4 options that we have identified right from the beginning, I can choose the best possible option available to me. That is
so what you're saying is, though let's say people change, you have at the back end a document which is actually shows what really is to be what really is to be protected, what is non-negotiable in sort of let's say making the amendments to get a patent granted.
Yes. So not in form of a document, but it basically comes into patent itself.
It's already in the patent.
It's already in the patent. So whatever, even if it is not asked by the product team right now to protect, we also add those things into the patent, because we also know like where the whole thought process is going. At the same time, there are certain technology trends. What feature I am launching in my product today, 3 years down the line, that feature is going to get revised 2 to 3 times. Except
so is the product team already aware that these features are going to be included?
See, most of the organization from small to moderate size, I'm not talking about very early stage startup, they always have some kind of product strategy or roadmap with them.
Okay.
Right.
So what are the improvements that have to be made?
Exactly.
How things will progress in a, let's say,
it may not be
span of 2
a well-defined document, because nobody can see 4 years down the line what you will have.
Yes.
But there is always a broad level strategy which is there.
Okay.
That today, if I am having a normal scooter, tomorrow I want to have a smart scooter with connectivity feature. Day after tomorrow, I want to have, let's say, a super safe scooter or something like that. So there is a thought process which is going on, right? So if somewhere around it, if you are mapping your product strategy with your IP strategy,
Correct.
this yields into a very, very good quality of IP that you are
The
filing.
portfolio that you're building is
Exactly.
a strong portfolio.
Very strong, very valuable portfolio that you can build out of it. So it cannot happen that, okay, a product manager comes, hey, we are launching this feature next month, can you protect it? If you are just protecting that, then what you said in your own question, it is very true that 3 years down the line, I think it might become a useless IP for the company itself.
Okay.
But somebody who is engaged for last 6 months during the development cycle will have much better visibility of these things. Like my team, we keep different product portfolios. We have different, it's a very manual thing that we do many times. We have different Excel sheet. We just keep those small notes, those small features which people talk about and all. These are our own notes.
Okay.
And when IP filings are done, that time we revisit with that sheet and say, hey, some things are missing. Can these features be merged in one patent that we are filing?
Okay.
We go back to product team. Hey, this is something you talked about 6 months back. You have dropped it. Is there anything to do
with it now?
Or after some time? So those kind of inputs really helps. So I think early engagement is something which is very important.
Now coming to that itself, now you, the company you're working at, Ather, right now, it actually functions like a fast-paced startup. But you have worked with other companies as well, which are like huge multinationals. Do you see any difference in strategy working for, let's say, large multinational companies with, let's say, thousands of employees as compared to your current organization itself, how they function? I mean, talking about in the parenting perspective only.
See, strategy-wise, of course, like, forget about large and small organization. Even two small organizations and two organizations can have a very different strategy. So I think it is more of a context-driven and orientation-driven. Context in the sense like, okay, what kind of products you have? Are you a product company or a service company?
True.
What do you want to really protect out of it? Are you a defensive filer or are you a very selective filer?
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah.
So each company define their own IP strategy around number of points, so to speak. Of course, budgeting comes into picture. Because that is something which many times drives the whole strategy. Like you have to plan your strategy around it, and also a lot of those things comes into picture when we are designing a strategy. Talking about these two firms, of course, they have very different strategy. Even their perception of patent is very different. Okay. One side you might think that, okay, they are looking to build a huge portfolio that they will be leveraging at some time. Other company might be looking at patent. Each individual patent is like very key strategic asset. They are not looking at the number. They are looking at the very few but very effective.
Whatever. Basically, they are not looking to file for each and everything.
Exactly.
They're just trying to protect whatever key inventions are there.
And one very big difference comes due to how these companies are structured. If you are talking about a large MNC, a part of product is being developed in India, other in Korea, other in US, other in some. So whether you talk about IP team or you talk about engineering team, very few people across the whole global organization have the whole visibility of like where it is going to go. For this engineering team, their task is to develop a feature within a big ecosystem, right? So they may not even have that kind of visibility. They are just working on a project wherein you are working in a company like, let's say, Ather. Okay. Most of the employees have the full visibility what is going to happen, what we are doing, right? So automatically, and I'm not saying one is bad or other is good. Both are very important considering the size of organization,
how agile they are.
Product portfolio, because many times, like let's say a company like Samsung, for example, multiple electronics products, 4 to 5 different products may have same feature. So the guy who is developing feature here, even he may not know like in how many products it is going to go to, right? So of course, like strategically, it's a very big difference if you see. But I believe like it's even at the big organizational level also, it's very different approaches. Like how Musk look at the patent and how Satya Nadella look at the patent. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing.
Now, coming to some challenges, let's say, what we have faced with working with companies is most times inventors are, let's say, they do not know what is patentable itself. Okay, so many a time, let's say they come up with something, they may not even be in a position to actually determine that, hey, this is something which I have come up with is unique, it's novel. I'll have to tell the management that this is worth protecting. That is there. So, do you face such challenges, and how do you actually have implemented a culture of patenting in your organization so that now, let's say, nothing is missed as such?
Exactly.
One point is it should not be missed. The other point is they should not give you so much information that it is useless also.
Right.
So how do you actually drive that balance, bring that culture of patenting into your the employees themselves who are not really let's say experts on patents themselves? They are inventors. They may not be the R&D team always, but there are many people in the organization. They come up with things, and they may not be always be in the best position to determine whether I should tell the management that they should be filed. How do you actually manage invention disclosures, or how do you manage training for employees themselves so that nothing is missed, and on the other hand, they don't just give you information that takes up a lot of your time and it is not of value as well?
I think this one question that you asked, it is, I think, the biggest challenge that most of the IT council face. So see, I think one of the answers you yourself have given in that whole thing is it's a cultural problem. Look at it. Don't look at it as a technical challenge.
Correct.
Don't look at it as a procedural challenge. Just look at it as a cultural and human challenge. Okay, because once you orient people and somewhere they are aligned with your goal, or it becomes their goal, automatically most of this problem gets resolved. And that's where I have done successfully in last 2 organizations. It starts with awareness. Okay, I'm not talking about awareness in the form of a training only.
True.
But there are multiple ways where you can make people aware. Okay, that, and awareness also should not be one way that, okay, we should file patent. That is the worst thing to tell any engineer. Okay, because for them it's a waste of time because they are already busy with their
busy with other work. Yeah, that is what I've seen. If I send an invention disclosure to an inventor, the problem we are seeing, and we don't hear back from them, we don't write anything because that is not his core job. He has other things to do rather than actually, let's say, filling up an invention disclosure. We have faced such issues.
So one thing is like, what is in there for them?
True. This is where I was coming from.
Right. So what you are achieving through that, and when this question is discussed, 99% of the time I get an answer: offer some monetary rewards, some recognition.
Correct.
Okay. You will be surprised to know in Ather we don't have monetary rewards.
Okay.
And inventors are like coming right, left, and center to file a patent.
Oh, great.
So it's a cultural shift that we have done.
Yeah, I think it's a cultural.
Exactly. So that speaks for itself that without expecting any reward kind of thing, you have done. How we have done it? First thing is, it should be in somewhere in the visibility. That IP wall that we have developed in Ather, that was not a IP team project.
Okay.
It became like viral 2 years back when we launched it, like everywhere, whether it is LinkedIn or Facebook, everybody was talking about it. That how we made it as an engineering challenge. Engineers from software, hardware, chassis, design team, everybody got involved and came up with very unique wall. If you see that, it's very unique thing. Even the display numbers we have is like real dashboards from our vehicle that we have put on that.
Okay.
The cubes are developed, QR code concept, like it's an engineering project that we have developed. So automatically what happens, so many people came together. They thought, okay, there is something. And that wall is right on the way when you go for your lunch. Every single day there is a reminder in front of you that this is the number, these are the name of people, those who have filed it. I want my name to be on this particular wall, right? That is one thing. Second is, bring some kind of maker shaker in your regular product development cycle, not a separate thing. So when we go for our product development at certain stages, when you have low volume productions, when you have your MK2 or MK3 level of development and all, that is a time where it requires that, okay, FTO has to be done or certain other checks, patent has to be filed, let's say, before you go with the high volume production or something like that. So in that whole product development life cycle itself, we have brought in IP checkpoints, and not only about patent filing, designs, trademarks, like if it is going for a launch, what marketing doing, have we filed a trademark around that? So it becomes like the overall IP engagement right from beginning to end.
So IP is actually just combined in your DNA of the company itself.
Exactly.
That's and I think this is an excellent thing that you mentioned about, let's say, recognition, recognizing who filed for patents and who are the inventors. I think that is what most people actually look for.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it becomes more like a chore for them, asking, hey, come up with something. Actually, when it is in your DNA itself, that makes sense.
Because see, first 2 years I had struggled reaching out to people, finding out the ideas.
Okay.
Now I have struggled in managing the number of ideas
that is
that I'm receiving.
yeah.
Because
Managing the ideas.
like now from every direction, even people those who have hunch that there might be a patent possibility, they come. Of course, like depending on our idea, it can be accepted, it can be like sandbag or something like. But I am really happy these people are coming even with a hunch.
Okay, that's good.
That's a very good sign that people are realizing
The importance of
for the company, for them also.
For them as well.
So, and also like time to time, monthly basis, we are sharing that, okay, hey, last month we have filed this many patents. These are the inventors.
Okay, and this is excellent.
Yeah, so there are like common platform. That is one part. Second part, anyways, I told you to bring it in your processes and everything.
Processes.
Third part, which is very important. In fact, you also mentioned when you were talking about your experience, is making things really simple for them. Usually in IP team or from law firm, we expect them to fill some 20-page document, 50-page document and all. I have also made that mistake in the beginning. Okay, but over the time we have simplified it. Now our process is, first you fill a 3-page document.
Okay.
You just write what is the core in your invention. We'll do the novelty check. Okay. Once it is through at first preliminary level, because see, 50% ideas will be dropped then and there.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So even somebody's idea is dropped, he is not too much attached because he has not filled up the 20-30 pages document.
I did not put in that much effort.
That much of effort. For him, it is like, okay, for 15 minutes, I have just put in some information.
Okay.
It's okay if it is dropped.
It's okay.
After that, like once we are certain that, okay, there is some value coming out of it, then we ask them to put effort. So most of the heavy effort conversion rate is almost like 90 to 95%. Once person is putting the effort. So they know that it's highly likely that if I am putting this effort, this patent is going to get through. There is nothing stopping it now. So what happened? The process becomes simple. Second, making this whole thing transparent. So we developed our own in-house tool.
Okay.
Wherein like a person submits the idea. Every stage is visible to him. It is with review with IP team. It is with technical review committee. It is at final approval.
So he has a dashboard wherein he can check what's the progress on this.
Progress on this. So the process is pretty transparent. So it's not like that somebody has submitted idea and for 1 month he's just sitting ducks because he's not getting any response.
Not getting
from
any
anybody.
response.
Right. We also made ourselves more disciplined in our IP team. We have set up certain timelines that, okay, within 5 working days, we have to send first response. First response, even it could be, I need more details.
Okay.
But
something we are getting back to.
Communication has to be there. So what happened? It brings confidence to the other party also that these guys are committed what they are doing.
True.
So we should also have some level of commitment towards them as well, right? So automatically it becomes that thing, and then awareness plays an important role.
True.
Once I have solved this patent filing problem, next thing is like we are a product company. We have to be really aware of what landscape is, what FTO is, what competitor monitoring does, and all those kind of things. Okay.
Having let's say used all these studies now, let's say you do an FTO, you do a landscape study, because these studies are done by the patenting team itself. But now let's say explaining it to them. Now let's say do you just send them a report, they go through it, or do you actually sit with them, let's say study the landscape report, sit with the R&D team, and thereafter let's say brainstorm as to what needs to be done, or you just give them a report and they go on from there?
2 ways of things. First thing what we do is when we collect the requirements, we just don't do that. Okay, this technology is very hot these days, so let's just run a landscape on this. It should come from them that we are trying to explore this thing. Okay?
This technology.
And second thing is, what are the objective? Technology landscape could be really big
Yes.
for any tech, so to speak. But what is they are trying to achieve by getting to know, okay, what are the patents available? Okay. One funny instance, some team came to me, they say like, okay, we want all the patents in this particular field.
Yeah, that is what they say. Yeah.
I said, why do you want it? He said like, we are finding really difficult to find a supplier for a product. We wanted to know like who are the people who can supply us.
Okay.
I said, you don't need a landscape study.
That's
All
not a
I
landscape.
do is some kind of like keyword-based assignee search. I can give you.
Assign research, yeah.
There, if I would have done landscape over there, they would have spent 1 month to analyze it.
Analyze the results, yes.
Here, I have just given them a list of supplier. It is done. So objective was very different there, right?
Okay.
Sometimes objective is very much focused for achieving certain like certain things. right?
Perfectly.
You need not to give really big landscape.
Yeah, maybe a state of art search.
Instead of art search or something like that. So once you understand what is really required, I think that adds a lot of value, saving time. Second thing, what we are doing is we also sit with them after performing some landscape search. That okay, this is what we have found. Kind of like summarization of the whole thing. That we think that okay, in this field, this player is doing well. This particular
Yeah,
piece
because
of tech
landscape studies, the reports are very exhaustive in
Very
nature.
exhaustive, right.
But for them to digest it after doing all this, it takes effort from their end as
their
well.
end also. Moreover, now with development of AI, we are creating AI summaries.
Okay. Better.
Yeah, we are giving. We have used like a lot of this notebook LM, Gemini, lot of this tool also. It may not be 100% accurate from a IP professional point of view because most of this tool can't capture the novelty.
Correct.
But they can capture a technical description of the thing.
Description.
Right?
Yes.
So we put like okay 200 word summary, 300 word summary.
End of the day, it is actually for them. They need to spend as little time as possible to understand it as fast as possible.
So after reading like say 50 summaries, they think these 2 summaries are really useful for me. They only need to read 2 patents, need not to read rest 48 patents, right? So that is something that we started like almost like 6-8 months back, and it's
working well,
really well, because people are finding it very easy to read, and also when you summarize using this tool, it translate into human language rather than legal language.
Legal language, which people, inventors do find it difficult. In my
and we got like so much positive feedback that okay, it is something which is working. As an IB professional, I am not very happy about it because it is not capturing the key essence, but it is giving them what they need at least.
From their perspective, it is actually the best thing that can happen.
So I think understanding right objective and aligning, it is something very important, because even you from a service provider firm, you understand that most of the requirement which comes are typically vague in nature.
Correct.
They are not very well defined thing that I exactly want this or something.
Yeah, no. So many times it happens that they come up with something. Then when we ask, actually, we have a discussion with them from a patenting perspective. We ask them lots of questions, right? So when we ask them the question, they go back and actually try to solve that issue, and they actually brainstorm during that time based on our questions, and then they come back with a complete thing. Because when it starts, it's at a very nascent stage. So it's just an idea. Then we ask them, see, just ideas are not protectable. You'll have to tell me how it is implemented. And then we ask them all these questions. They're like, oh, yeah, I did not figure that out. They go back, they come back with those answers. And then it is not, we become more like, let's say, their R&D team, wherein we are actually figuring out with them. And they figure out and cut back. And
So that makes a big difference. More communication you have, I think it brings clarity to both the parties.
Definitely.
They also understand what they want. We also understand what we have to look for. So I think that makes a very big difference when it comes to especially big studies like landscape and all.
Now, coming to that itself, now let's say the patenting itself, now let's say the inventors come from a very different perspective. And we as patent professionals, when we ask them the questions, our questions are always based on the patenting perspective itself rather than anything else. So when we ask them these questions, do the inventors feel that yeah, these questions are not really relevant to what I'm trying to do. But sometimes they
No,
do get.
it's a very valid question because many times inventor don't identify their invention with the kind of question we are asking.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when we talk about like core patenting criteria,
True.
related questions and all. What we do is like we make it very simple for them.
Okay.
Okay. We simply say, okay, what you have done? All right, I have done this. Then we simply ask him, hey, I have seen this product which is already existing. It also does this. What is different here?
Correct.
Then he gets into, they have used this algorithm. I am using this different algorithm.
Okay.
Their performance is poor. But rather than that, if I ask him what is novelty in that, probably answer will be zero.
It'll be zero.
But
yeah,
giving example, probing them, and all those kind of things, it gives them also perspective to explain in their world.
definitely.
They are looking at competitive products. They are looking at new tech which is coming in and all. So usually and that's why I prefer to hire engineer when it is about patents because they can interact with them as an engineer rather than a patent professional.
Yeah, see,
Right.
That's true.
And that's where if you translate those questions into their engineering challenges, their engineering problems, even if we talk about use cases, that is one. Second thing, also establish yourself as a subject matter expert rather than a IP professional.
Okay.
If they look at you at IP professional, they just see some legal guy is there who does something.
That's a myth most people have.
Exactly.
They feel that IP professionals are lawyers.
Exactly.
But the thing is, in India or elsewhere, IP professionals have to have a science degree to actually practice, be a patent agent in India.
Exactly.
You just cannot be a lawyer and actually practice patent.
Yeah, so that is a general perception that people have that if it is an IP professional, he is like a legal person. He is, and many times, many new people or new organizations, they explain you as if you are from a different field, you are doing some arts or something like that. They try to explain you like that.
Okay.
But this is a slow process, I believe.
Yes.
Slowly you have to establish yourself that, okay, you have that level of understanding that you can understand technology. Okay, you may not be able to implement it in the real product, but you're understanding it at par.
Understanding at par, because otherwise you're not really able to do justice to the patent itself.
Right. And over the time, once you develop that kind of presence within the organization, I'm talking purely from in-house point of view, automatically that respect comes and that communication becomes very easier for us also.
Yes.
First we are paving way for them, then over the time things becomes automatic. Okay, I have some inventors now. The moment I share some prior art with them, the next presentation I get is prior art search comparison, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, which is something I supposed to do.
He's doing it,
and they are doing it for me because now they are looking at from my perspective.
Definitely.
That what I am looking at, and they just highlight one particular row. This looks like the most strong feature for me. I said now you are doing my job. And that is the thing. So it's very, very interesting, but it takes time.
Okay.
You can't do it overnight or something like that.
True.
Right.
Now coming to deciding what to patent. Now let's say we being patent professionals, we always say that patenting is the best option. But do you see in any instances wherein you feel that rather than patenting it, have you come under any instances where you feel that better to keep it as a trade secret rather than
multiple times.
Let's say going and patenting and letting everybody know as to what I'm trying to do?
Right. Multiple instances, because especially from a firm which has big R&D facility as well as good product development. It is not a app kind of product or e-commerce kind of product. So forget about the product that we are developing. In our manufacturing floor, for example, we might have, let's say, came across with certain ways which is boosting our manufacturing. Rather than 100 vehicle a day, if we can make it 105 vehicle a day by changing certain things in the development, the factory line itself, right? Do I really want to put it out in the public, right? So we have this kind of maker checkers where whether to protect it as a know-how or a trade secret. Or sometimes we also use things like white paper publications or
you do that as well. Okay.
Right? Because I just want to file, want to do a defense filing.
So that nobody else gets a patent on it as well.
Exactly. So why should even I spend money on patent? I simply publish it on my website, right? A white paper. Or if it is more research-oriented problem, I can probably go for a IEEE or like one of this research papers publication and all. So that is the part of that strategy that you have to, and many times like this things come with more and more interaction with inventors. Somebody is coming with a solution. One thing is it is product oriented, we have to protect it, end of the story. But something is coming from the manufacturing engineering, something is coming from QA, QC teams, quality teams and all. There, something is coming from, let's say, dealership teams. Okay. They are developing a tool which is only used in a dealership, like or a service center, for example. So there we have this kind of questions with them back and forth. Like, do you think we should make it public? If we make it public, what we are going to get out of it? I think if it is in-house, we'll get to protect it and all. Once we reach to a conclusion, okay, it's a know-how or a trade secret or something like that, then we put the fence around it, like how to protect it and all those kind of things. So it's like pretty much regular part of the life that we have, wherein like we are segregating those things, we are planning the things accordingly. Right.
Now coming to, let's say, international filings themselves. Now let's say different companies have different filing strategies. The most common question that I asked in early stage startups is, okay, I filed in India, where else do I file? So they're not really sure as to where they want to file. The answer that I give them is, I don't know, because it's a business decision rather than anything else.
Right.
So from your perspective, how do you advise people if they want to file internationally, not just in India? How do you advise them as to how do you go about actually figuring out where I file? What filters should I apply in deciding, okay, apart from India, I should file here? What should be their thought process in actually filing outside of India?
Okay. One thing before filing, I think one thing, especially early stage startup, as you have mentioned, ideally they should be using different tools available to defer it or delay it as much as possible.
Yeah, that is there.
So if you are given option between Paris Convention and PCT, I would say go for PCT.
That's true.
It is giving you extra time to think.
Yeah, to think.
Okay, so first buy as much time as possible without losing your IP rights.
Right.
Okay, that is the first step.
Yes.
Second thing, now coming to how to make that decision. So there are like 3-4 things one has to think about. Okay, first thing is, are there any potential markets for me? Okay. That is very first question. Okay. Even today, if I don't have any visibility, which could be my potential market, look from the point of view, which markets might have demand for my tech that I'm patenting. Okay. It may not be the potential market for me. It may never be a potential market for me, but there is a demand because patent is a strategic tool. Okay. Protecting your product is one part of thing. Second thing is, can I monetize it in going into certain market, right? So where is a potential demand could come from? Okay, if I'm a two-wheeler company, for me, Latin America might be a better market than US.
Yes.
Right.
No two-wheelers in the US as much.
Right. There is just hardly a couple of companies, and that too, like pretty much limited market. Right? So from market point of view, I might want to go to Latin America. But then comes the third point. How good IP infrastructure in that particular company?
Oh yeah. Like so. Enforceability, basically.
Enforceability. If something goes wrong, can you really enforce? Or forget about enforceability. Can you get your IP granted on time? Or it is going to take 6, 7, 8 years? Right? Because as a startup, you don't have that much of time with you, right? So think about, look from, let's say you, after first to filter, you have identified 10 countries where you potentially want to move into. See how this whole legislature is set up in that particular country, right? Some of the countries, you may not want to file also, just because whether it will take forever to get granted, there is no legal framework, no precedences over there, which can basically really help you in enforcing your IP. Then what is the point of paying to certain IP office which is not giving you the protection that you are asking for, right? So that is another filter that you can put on top of that. And fourth filter is your budget.
Yeah.
Right. That
Europe is extremely expensive is what we have seen.
Especially in Indian startup, this comes as a shocker the moment international cost comes in.
Yeah.
Because India is one of the cheapest countries to file. Right.
Even for that matter, US is also relatively decent. It's not very expensive. But if you go to Europe,
Latin, many countries within Latin America like Colombia and, all these things. Because their official fees might be less, but attorney cost you end up paying huge amount and all those kind of things. So always because startups are largely driven by the constraints rather than anything else, that how much financial constraint we have. So once you have that awareness, okay, this much of budget I can shell out, then put that budget to a good use. Okay, now if I have left with, let's say, a list of 8 countries and 3 of them I'm pretty sure that these are totally out of my budget, then what is the point in attempting that now? Maybe 2 years later you develop some technology, you get good funding, try to enter. And then delaying this whole thing, like as I was telling you, that try to buy as much time as possible. That will give you much better visibility to act.
Definitely.
Right? Because
got it. So coming to continuing on this, now let's say this would be a strategy for a startup as such. But now let's say company is not a startup as such. Would these filters change? What would be your decision maker markers to file internationally? Would these things change, or would you still look at it in the same point of view?
See, broadly fundamentals remains the same, but as you have more flexibility in terms of availability of your budget, having a presence in some of the markets, let's say, because if you are a bigger company and if you are expanding, for example, you are exploring into other markets, those things basically give you some kind of perspective. Okay, that certain market which I thought are important to me yesterday, I have entered it, their value of IP is not that much that I want to do. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, you are now thinking strategically, because when you are talking about data strategy, you already have built some kind of portfolio a little bit ahead.
So I think larger companies actually have decided the market because they already know where the market is for.
Exactly. So they will decide their market, but apart from market-driven thing and demand-driven thing, you can also look for the collaborations there. Once you are a little bigger company, you already have a portfolio with you.
Yeah, that is how it changes.
Right. So collaboration plays a very important role. Okay. I want somebody else's tech and they want my tech. Okay. Can I do a cross-licensing deal with them? Okay.
Yeah. Coming to the licensing part itself. Now let's say you're not able to get protection on something and somebody else has a license. Are you open to use licenses? Have you used licenses from another companies? What's your experience on that?
Everybody does it.
Everybody does it.
Product world. It is done whether in a direct way or indirect way. Direct way is less because licensing deals are really tough to crack sometimes within given a time constraint or a budget constraint.
Okay.
Right. Because expectations, demands are totally different and all those kind of things. But indirect way, it works well.
Yeah. So I just want to ask you about any myths about patents that you want to bust.
See, I'll tell you one thing where I think this is where we started. Patent is not a legal document. At the same time, it's not a technical document.
Okay.
It's a strategy.
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing. That don't think it as a legal lens or a technical lens, because engineers look at technical, companies, founders look at it as a legal thing or the higher management, but it's more of a strategic tool. So the better strategy you have, better leverage you can take. I think that's a very simple thing.
And what at this point of time, what do you see exciting happening in patents with, let's say, the introduction of, let's say, the AI? How is it affecting patenting itself?
See, I think AI is one thing which is, I think, affecting every field.
True.
And patenting, I think, adoption is a bit slower, considering it is a very niche field. And typically, if you see, like, giving you a little technical answer here, but if you typically see most of the popular AIs or tools that we have, most of them are based on LLMs, large language models. Right. They don't work so well when it is something like very specific or niche areas. Right. So now I think I have been in touch with a lot of early stage startups in IP-based AI solutions.
IP-based AI solutions.
Okay.
Searches and drafting and prosecution.
Prosecution, searches everywhere and all. They are now finding like a lot of new methods, new ways to come up with a solution which serves this particular field. So AI is something which definitely very exciting happening. At the same time, I think it will require a big upgrade, because I don't remember in last 30 years any major upgrade has happened in a patent field. Things are as usual. Technologies are updating, but our laws, our approaches were same, right? The only thing related to AI we talk about is like, can AI be an inventor or not? That's or assign you or not, right? But I think that's not something which, as a core patent filers or people in the patent field, should be worried about. That is a government decision or a legal decision. How AI will affect our day-to-day work is going to
That is what.
be a
So
big
what
change.
I'm coming to here is, are you going to implement AI tools for, let's say, working on patent itself, or using AI to maybe be more efficient, or is it going to improve our quality as such?
Quality aspects, I think it is little too early to comment on that because it's still like things are in progress.
Okay.
But the way it has taken over other field in terms of quality, I'm pretty sure that maybe in a couple of years we'll see the qualitative thing on that. What I see it as more of a efficiency improvement tool.
Efficiency improvement
now.
tool for us.
That don't deny it completely, don't accept it fully.
Fully true.
Have a good balance where it is like human assisted AI thing or AI assisted human, basically the way you want to see.
Yeah, whatever.
It's right. Wherein like that human ingenuity has to be there, that level of understanding has to be there. It could be that something which is as mundane as writing a background section. Let's say if I'm talking about drafting, that can be left over to AI.
Okay.
But if it is a claim thing, I think that
It has to
human
be
has to
from the
play a
person.
very important role over
Yes.
there. That is one thing. So in all aspect, whether it is the prosecution aspect, analytics aspect, litigation aspect, I think everywhere in this particular field, AI will have some kind of role. We have to be smart enough how to use it for most of our advantage. That's what I see. Of course, like a lot of people are pitching up that, okay, there are tools which can help you in coming up with new invention or new ideas. I believe that premise is wrong. Why I need AI to come up with an idea? Okay. It can be used to refine my idea. I agree with that. Okay. Because as a in-house counsel, my objective is not to file 1,000 patent in a year or 10,000 patent in a year. I want to file 100 good patents. Rather than having 1,000 novel idea. It's okay to have 1,000 novel idea, but those out of those 1,000, 100 are something which will matter to me, my business, that I can utilize as a strategic tool. So that is where you have to use it more smartly rather than just have a reliance.
If you are over reliant on something,
right,
I'm sure it is going to be a issue.
Yes. So I think that is one very exciting thing this time, which is
we're living in exciting times right now.
Yeah. So because 2 years back, what was there, right now where we are standing 2 years, it will be totally different.
Totally different.
And especially, I think we are blessed as IP professional. I'm not talking about like a very generic thing. That our field is something which requires some kind of intellectual contribution.
Definitely.
Right. AI can replace people with mundane job, repetitive job.
Definitely.
But that intellectual quotient, if you have, it will be very difficult to replace you. Right.
True.
So just use it as a tool to improve the efficiency.
Yes, as an efficiency tool, it can definitely be used.
Yeah.
But I think going forward, it is going to be a balance between the employees themselves has to be checked as to you should not become over reliant that you ask you let AI do everything rather than actually depending on your own intellect to actually carry out tasks.
Yeah, I think we'll see like more deeper impact in next couple of years. But what I believe direction looks like to have use it as a tool rather than let it becoming a master of yours. Right. So
okay, Anoop, I think it was a great learning experience from you. Thanks for coming on our podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was great speaking with you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this is what we had to listen from Anoop. Thanks a lot for listening to us.